So the first topic is in vitro fertilization, that's IVF, and embryo transfer is the second topic. You all have the handout. I hope you've downloaded it. So we'll start right away with first the topic, that is IVF. So IVF में in vitro fertilization is needed when hi Navdeep, good evening. When the female is not able to conceive normally. So normal conception agar nahi hota, to in vitro fertilization, which we also know as test tube baby, there's another term for it, although it's not a test tube, rather it's a petri dish in which that fertilization in vitro happens. We've already studied the process of fertilization and how sperms are capacitated. So जो sperm की capacitation in vitro होती है, वो करनी पड़ती है in order to ensure that it is able to fertilize an ovum. So that's part of that in vitro fertilization procedures that happens in a lab, which will lead to this artificially जो conception होता है. So both male and female infertility can contribute to it. It's not like only the female infertility contributes to conception not occurring. The male infertility can also cause problems in conceptions. With female, the problem is that a lot of the follicles, they undergo what is called as atresia. So during the development of the female, as she is growing up, the oocytes will be undergoing atresia, majority of them. So at 20 weeks of gestation, there would be around 4 million of these oocytes, but at the time of birth, they'll be reduced to only around 4 lakh. And then as she grows to reach the puberty, by that time, only 1/4 of them are left. जो birth के time थे, उससे 1/4. And with each menstrual cycle, one of the ovum is getting lost in the menstruation, while at the same time, lot of the ova in the ovaries, they are undergoing atresia. So fertility starts to decline at the age of 27 itself in females, and by the female reaches an age of 37, 38, the fertility starts to decline significantly. And although fertility almost negligible hoti hai 45 ke above age mein, because it comes with it, ova bhi kam hote hain, the oocytes that are left, there is a chance that usme koi mutation ho gayi ho, and by this time the rate of conception declines because there are a lot of other uterine associated problems that women have. So pregnancies after the age of 44 are very rare, but that doesn't mean कि नहीं होती हैं. One issue with women is what is called as polycystic ovarian syndrome. इसको PCOD भी बोलते हैं. P से poly, then you have the C से cystic, O ovarian, and a disease. अगर हम बोलेंगे पहले PCOD या फिर PCOS, ये दोनों बोला जाता है. Polycystic ovarian disease or polycystic ovarian syndrome. Right now, PCOS is what is mainly used. So what happens is, in every menstrual cycle, out of the 2 ovary, one of the ovary will be undergoing, one of the oocyte will be undergoing growth. तो उसमें एक follicle है जो primordial follicle है, वो grow करना start करता है. It will eventually become the Graafian follicle, and in it the secondary oocyte will be there. So that happens in alternate, generally alternate. एक menstrual cycle में एक ovary में होता है, the second menstrual cycle will happen in the second ovary. So normally that is how things go about, but women in today's time are exposed to so many xenoestrogens. Xenoestrogens मतलब कि एक तो estrogen का negative feedback mechanism होता है. When estrogens are being released, they negatively impact your pituitary to suppress the release of FSH and LH. So estrogen has that negative feedback loop. And if we have too much of that estrogen, that will create that negative feedback loop. But it is not being secreted by your body, by the ovaries. It is coming from outside. That's why we call them as xenoestrogens. इसमें अगर आपको एक एग्जाम्पल देखना है तो वन वेरी बिग एग्जाम्पल इज व्हाट इज बिस्फेनॉल ए, जो प्लास्टिक की हार्डनिंग में यूज होता है, बिकॉज प्लास्टिक इज वेरी मेलेबल, यू कैन चेंज इट इनटू एनी शेप, एंड टू make it into a particular shape you need to add something which hardens the plastic, and one such compound is bisphenol A. ये एक xenoestrogen है, and if we are using plastic which is meant to be a single use plastic multiple times, then that bisphenol A leaches into the food that we are putting in the plastic or the liquid that we put in the plastic, and somehow we consume that, we are exposed to that xenoestrogen. Slowly and gradually it accumulates in your body and it will start to act like estrogen, but not what your body has produced. It has come from outside. And then what happens is starts to put that negative feedback loop. And इसमें क्या होता है कि in at that a threshold which is below, like if the FSH and LH की threshold नहीं होती, उस threshold के below, in every month what happens is this oocytes will start to grow, but they will not grow completely to become the Graafian follicle. So normally ये आपकी situation है कि एक particular oocyte develop होना start हो रहा है in the left ovary, simultaneously right ovary में there's nothing happening. But in case of PCOD, multiple such oocytes are growing, but they're not able to grow completely to become the Graafian follicle, since there's an inhibition by that xenoestrogen. ये हो सकता है सिर्फ एक ओवरी में हो, ये हो सकता है दोनों ओवरी में सिचुएशन हो. There are a lot of these ova are stuck in this growth phase, but they are not growing completely. All right, multiple cyst-like situation. एक cyst तो बनेगा every menstrual cycle. So you have one cyst, you do not have polycystic ovarian disease, syndrome. But if there is multiple cysts that are there in the ovary, that is because the FSH and LH are not being released appropriately, and that will cause a lot of them to grow, but none of them releasing the secondary oocyte. It has to enter into the bloodstream eventually, obviously, for it to reach the brain and have that negative impact, but it is being absorbed by your gut if you're consuming it. If you're drinking some liquid which has it, then it will be absorbed through your gut. If you're consuming food which has it, then it can be absorbed through your gut. It can be absorbed through skin also. Some of the xenoestrogens get absorbed through the skin as well. BPA is something which will eventually obviously have to come into the bloodstream. Otherwise, how will it reach the pituitary? So anyways, this polycystic ovarian disease में क्या होता है that ovary से oocyte नहीं release हो रहा. Grow करना start हो रहा है but release नहीं हो रहा. So eventually what happens is conception cannot take place. And women who have this situation will have, they will miss their periods. And sometimes they have, because of that inhibition, other, in presence of xenoestrogen, other like testosterone and others accumulate, that will lead to progesterone may accumulate, that will lead to development of, facial hair and all of these problems. All right. But conception is the problem with perspective of IVF treatment. Another problem that women face, and that is often with age that they face, that there is an irregular thickening in their uterine wall. That is called as endometriosis. Endometrial lining है और उसकी irregular thickening हो गई है. Irregular thickening of the endometrial lining of uterus. उससे क्या होता है कि there's no problem in fertilization. Fertilization can occur. Like the oocyte that is being released is normal. The sperm that is entering into the female reproductive system is fine. Fertilization is okay. But implantation doesn't occur because irregular thickening hai. So implantation of the blastocyst cannot occur. And when that doesn't occur, this can lead to again fertility issues. अब यहाँ पर problem है कि endometriosis needs a proper treatment. इसमें IVF alone will not be able to work because आपने fertilization का तो कोई issue था ही नहीं from the start itself. So even if you do IVF in the lab and then try to implantation नहीं होगा. So endometriosis के अलग treatments होते हैं which can go on for longer period of time, and sometimes it cannot be treated, and in that case, yeah, the alternative would be surrogacy, or the alternative would be adoption or something else. All right, but female infertility is not the only reason for not having a normal conception. Male infertility could also be the reason. Number one, इसमें सबसे you must be knowing 2 to 5 million sperms per ejaculate जो semen होता है उसमें होने चाहिए 2 to 5 million per ejaculation. इतने स्पर्म्स नॉर्मली होने चाहिए. और अगर इस स्पर्म की प्रोडक्शन में कोई प्रॉब्लम हो, जस्ट अ मिनट एवरीवन, yeah, so Paras, last slide. ठीक है, चलें आगे. So where was I? I was telling कि okay. Sperms 2 to 5 million per ejaculation event होना चाहिए. अगर उस amount में अगर less than 2 million sperms होंगे semen में, that is abnormality in sperm production. That means the amount of sperm are not adequately being produced. This can be one reason. Could be a different, many things can contribute to it, like stress. Again, so many foreign हम इतने सारे unneeded exposure से surrounded होते हैं, whether that is pollution in terms of the food that we are drinking, the water that we are drinking, the air that we are breathing, stressful, fast-paced life cycle, so much of radiations all around us. All of them could contribute to abnormality in the sperm production. Then there could be abnormality in sperm function because sperm needs to be capacitated. And for capacitation of sperm, जो semen बनता है उसका role होता है इसमें. So adequate secretion from the prostate gland, from the bulbourethral gland, from the seminal vesicle, that contributes to the capacitation of sperm. So कुछ problem हो जाए accessory reproductive organs में, that can contribute. Sperm number ठीक है 2 to 5 million है, लेकिन वो capacitate नहीं हो पा रहे. Sometimes what happens is sperms की odd shapes होती हैं, and when they have these odd shapes, their mid piece may be bigger in size, their acrosome may not be of adequate size, sometimes they're bi-headed, and in that case they are not able to move at a pace that is required and fertilize the ovum. So there can be abnormality in sperm function, which includes lack of capacitation, which also includes, there is abnormality in shape, etc., which could lead to normal conception not occurring. And finally, one thing that can lead to less number of sperms in the ejaculate is if there is some obstruction in the ducts of the male reproductive system, which are retitestes and vas efferents, vas deferens. कुछ ducts of the male reproductive system somehow are blocked. That could also lead to the male infertility. Some abnormality you can see here. So ये आप देखो तो normal sperm है, उसका mid piece है. This is stained sperms, human sperms. Then there is a sperm head जो थोड़ा lighter stain हो रहा है, that is the acrosomal cap. So these are all the normal sperms, उनकी ऐसी morphology होती है. लेकिन sometimes what happens is that there can be very thin एज, टेपर्ड, क्योंकि इन ह्यूमन स्पर्म थोड़ा सा राउंडेड होता है, डोम्ड होता है एंटीरियरली, लेकिन अगर टेपर्ड एज है, आई थिंक दिस कलर इज नॉट वर्किंग, सो लेट मी टेक ब्लैक कलर ओनली, अगर थोड़ा टेपर्ड एज है, tapered head, then that can be a problem. The sperm will not be able to fertilize the ovum. Sometimes it is this condition where you can see that there are two heads like this. So bi-headed sperm can also be there. This is also abnormality in sperm function because sperm की जो morphology है वो abnormal है. All right, then there can be sometimes very thick midpiece, large midpiece is there, and then that will not let the sperm move at an adequate pace. Large midpiece हो गया, जरूरत से ज्यादा rounded है अगर, so abnormally rounded sperm head. Sometimes what happens is there can be some vacuoles that develop inside the sperms. So sperm head के अंदर कुछ vacuoles develop. नहीं, bi-headed sperm can't fertilize the egg. They will not be able to interact with zona pellucida proteins, ZP3 and all of them. All right. So no, bi-headed sperms cannot fertilize the egg. Or any abnormality in shape will not let it interact with the zona pellucida. Tapered sperm head, abnormally large midpiece, बहुत ज़्यादा rounded है, vacuoles in the head. All of these contribute to the abnormal morphology and hence abnormal sperm function. So now we have to treat the male infertility differently, the female infertility differently. The beauty is that even if the male infertility issues are there, their sperm can be collected and out of them the good ones can be selected for IVF. Males do not have to undergo any sort of treatment, all right, for their infertility issues. Sometimes they may want to, but it is not it is not forced upon them because there are so many sperms out of them. You just need one. So if you are able to collect that semen and in the lab select the one good sperm, that's good enough. So that's not the problem with male infertility. Male infertility issue यही है, इतने issue हो नहीं रहा because there are so many sperms, and as opposed to that there are very limited number of eggs that a woman produces, and hence infertility treatments would involve largely treating the infertility in women. And for such infertility treatments, why we are looking at infertility treatment? Because that is a standard procedure of IVF. So even if you are asked about IVF, you have to talk about why it is needed, what is the reason for IVF, and then you'll start with कि क्या किया जाता है and where comes the actual IVF. All right, so infertility treatments may number one would be if things work out with only intrauterine insemination, मतलब कि naturally conceive नहीं किया, लेकिन female को के male से you collected the semen, you took out a portion of semen, you capacitated the sperms, and then what you did was you added those sperms in the female reproductive tract. You don't have to, मतलब that normal conception is not needed. इसका benefit इसमें भी होता है if a woman is not married, like internationally तो ये सब चलता है that even if a woman is not married, she would want her own child, and then she can go to an IVF center and they will give her, there may be a sperm donor and she will get a sperm from that sperm donor and she can conceive. So उसमें भी intrauterine insemination होता है. So woman may be of good reproductive health, but she may not be married and still want a child. So उस केस में intrauterine insemination करते हैं. They release the sperm in the fallopian tube. मतलब fallopian tube generally why? Because वहां पर uterus में ही fallopian एम्पिलरी इस्थमिक जंक्शन में फर्टिलाइजेशन होगी, तो वहीं जाके रिलीज करते हैं एट द टाइम वेयर द एग इज बीइंग रिलीज्ड। टू एंश्योर कि एग रिलीज हो रहा है उससे पहले आपको ट्रीटमेंट देना पड़ता है। इन विमेन हु आर ऑफ नॉर्मल रिप्रोडक्टिव हेल्थ, कोई एडिशनली आपको कोई एंटागोनिस्ट, ईस्ट्रोजन एंटागोनिस्ट नहीं देने पड़ते। आप बस स्टिमुलेट करोगे थोड़ा oocyte प्रोडक्शन FSH देकर, एंड देन द फीमेल विल स्टार्ट टू ओव्यूलेट, एंड देन यू इंट्रायूटेरिन यू कलेक्ट द स्पर्म फ्रॉम अ डोनर एंड देन यू इंसेमिनेट इट. But sometimes, because some women who are not conceiving naturally, in that case, they will be given clomiphene citrate. अब इसका क्या काम होता है, ये एक ईस्ट्राडायोल एंटागोनिस्ट है. This is an estradiol antagonist. You know that estradiol is responsible for a negative feedback. So अगर उसको आप inhibit करो, कोई भी estradiol आपकी body में है, which could be a xenoestrogen also, you want to stop its negative feedback, you give an antagonist, it will bind to it and neutralize it. So this stops the negative feedback. By estradiol, and this will then naturally increase FSH and LH. एंड जब वो रिलीज इंक्रीज होता है उसका अमाउंट, तो नॉर्मली oocyte प्रोडक्शन होती है. कई विमेन में ये इशू नहीं है. हाँ, some women this is not the issue कि ईस्ट्राडायोल नेगेटिव इम्पैक्ट कर रहा है. कई विमेन में FSH LH नॉर्मली बनता ही नहीं है. देयर मस्ट बी सम इशू इन पिट्यूटरी स्टिमुलेशन. गोनाडोट्रोफ्स आर नॉट एबल टू रिलीज FSH. इन दैट केस, if this doesn't work, or if you want it to be done quicker, because पहले antagonist उसको, yeah, I'm not, but it's okay, I'm just fine. It's just that while speaking, I sometimes, okay, what was I saying? I was saying, in case you want this to be quicker, yeah, or you do not want to wait for that antagonist to work and then feedback to stop and then FSH and LH to be released later on, you can give the follicular stimulating hormone directly. यहाँ पे IUI means intrauterine insemination and FSH means follicle stimulating hormone. You already know it. That's why I have not elaborated upon it. So the second step could be this. अब आपने क्या किया? You have just injected the semen inside the female reproductive tract so that she naturally conceive. मतलब यहाँ पर in vitro fertilization नहीं हो रही. This is in vivo fertilization, but you are helping in that fertilization. Normal copulation से नहीं, intrauterine insemination से. Now, if this doesn't work, then that means fertilization is not happening normally. In that case comes IVF. So now in the second situation, the IVF will be there. आपने मेल से सिचुएशन में स्पर्म्स लिए, आपने फीमेल से ओवा लिए, all right, you collected them and then you will be artificially causing this fertilization in a petri dish in lab. And जब आपने कर दिया तो आप उसको ग्रो करते हुए देखोगे zygote को, and once the zygote has reached the blastocyst stage, that embryo is collected and then that is implanted, and that will, once it is implanted, successful pregnancy occurs, and then that would be the whole process. ये कैसे होता है? We are going to look at it. Standard IVF ये होता है, जो पार्टनर दो कपल हैं उनमें मेल और फीमेल से आपने इंडिविजुअली स्पर्म एंड ओवा लिया एंड देन आपने आर्टिफिशियली उसको फर्टिलाइज किया, लैब में ब्लास्टोसिस्ट को कलेक्ट किया एंड देन इम्प्लांटेशन कर दिया. दैट्स द स्टैंडर्ड IVF. Sometimes what happens is फीमेल मे नॉट बी हैविंग एडिक्वेट नंबर ऑफ एग्स, या फिर कुछ प्रॉब्लम है, जेनेटिक इशू है, she wants to conceive naturally but she may not have good eggs. In that case किसी donor से egg लिया जाएगा. All right, she will keep the मतलब the uterus will be hers but egg will be for from somebody else. This could also be in case of surrogacy. If somebody else is carrying your child, you may donate the egg and then a surrogate will keep the embryo, the fetus during gestation. So egg donation plus IVF भी होता है, और in case of women who may not want to conceive at a younger age, they want to focus on their career and they do not want to conceive in the childbearing age. In that case, you can freeze your eggs also. That is also something that can be done today. And 10 साल तक freeze करा सकते हैं, उससे ज़्यादा eggs freeze right now नहीं होते. नहीं, इम्यून सिस्टम अटैक नहीं करता. आप फर्टिलाइज करके आप इम्प्लांट कर रहे हो, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. अनयूटरीन मीडियम में इम्यून सिस्टम एज सच स्पर्म्स को भी अटैक नहीं करता. दैट आर आल्सो फॉरेन एंड देयर इज नो attack to the sperm, so why they would be attacking the ova. Uterine condition is maintained in such a way. It doesn't mean that leukocytes aate nahi hai wahan par, but they are not meant to treat it as a foreign. जब वो blastocyst stage पे होती है embryo, then it is and it is able to implant. It is treated as just an embryo and should not be attacked. We need to also research on this and find out exact mechanism, but we are aware that the immune system doesn't attack sperms and won't attack a developing embryo. So egg freezing कराकर आप IVF कर सकते हो if you do not want to conceive in those childbearing age, but you may want to later on in life. If you see historically, सबसे पहले जो IVF baby हुआ था, that was in Patrick Steptoe and Robert Edwards ने लुइस जॉय ब्राउन नाम से एक फर्स्ट IVF बेबी बनाया था. I should not be saying बनाया, मतलब she was born and they got a Nobel Prize in Physiology and Medicine 2010 for that. But the irony is कि उसी साल में इंडिया में भी one IVF baby was born. The doctor who was involved in it was Subhash Mukherjee, and he never got recognition for it. And that's such a sad thing. He eventually committed suicide because the government of India and people in general, people in the medical field didn't recognize his efforts at all. Yes, the name of the baby was Durga. Later on, 1990s, made both the child and the mother came into media and then acknowledged the role of Subhash Mukherjee. उस time पर सिर्फ एक postal जो stamp है release की गई थी उनके नाम पे. That's the only thing that has been done for him. He wanted to present a paper in Japan, but इतना ज़्यादा medical field से aggression mila unko ki he was not allowed to even go and present his paper. So he was so stressed out. His personal life was also not that great, and because of that he lost his life. But his contribution has never come to the surface. India was at par with the world at one point of time in this discovery. We could have really made a mark in the world, but because of our own religious beliefs and how people are in general very competitive, हम religion को बीच में ले आते हैं अपना काम बनवाने के लिए, लेकिन the thing is that actually we are very jealous a lot and we do not like somebody else progressing. That's what really happened. Yeah, so we may acknowledge the good things about us, but we should also acknowledge how pathetic we are as people. And that's what we do to our own. And we are always just jealous. I mean, as a civilization, as people, as a community, as a country, whatever you say, we need to learn a lot of conduct. मतलब जो human conduct है उसमें हम बहुत पीछे हैं, बहुत lack करते हैं. हाँ. Anyways, नहीं, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है पारस। जो लड़कों को रिकग्निशन मिलता है उतना लड़कियों को कभी मिलता ही नहीं है, सो वी डू नॉट इवन कम इन टू पिक्चर। बट द थिंग इज दैट इंडिया में टू डू गुड थिंग्स यू नीड टू हैव अ हार्ट ऑफ स्टोन, and you need to just do your work and ignore a lot of people. Anyways, then 1981 mein USA was behind us, by the way. In USA also, this was in Britain, all right. When USA में 1981 में ये टेक्नोलॉजी पहुंची, and the first IVF baby that was born was Elizabeth Kerr. Then later on we have come a long way. India has come a long way. You know, every you know, बिग सिटीज में तो एटलीस्ट हर लोकेलिटी में एक आईवीएफ क्लिनिक है, and it has become such a business, and internationally it is costly, so these white people come to countries like India to have IVF treatments done, and sometimes do it through surrogacy because that is also cheaper here. हाँ, हर लोकेलिटी में एक क्लिनिक है, that's how it is. You'll find ads everywhere, कितने हजार रुपए में करो and all that. Oh God. Okay. Anyways, so धीरे धीरे egg donation भी start हो गई. If the mother is not having good eggs, then through egg donation you can do the IVF. Then cryopreservation started. उससे भी 1985 में first cryopreserved embryo was given birth to. Like, you can store the embryo also in the blastocyst state, then you can store it for some time and later on implant it and it will start growing from there on. So we have come a long way, in short. Okay. So who all would need IVF? People who've had failed other treatments, like intrauterine insemination didn't work, clomiphene citrate didn't work, follicle stimulating hormone didn't work. All these people will need. Then if there is any fallopian tube damage in female, then the egg will not be released. So intrauterine insemination से तो कोई फायदा नहीं होगा. Tubal damage में लिख लेना, fallopian tube को damage हो जाता है, बहुत common है ये. In that case, you will be needing. If there is male infertility, then normal conception cannot occur. So आप female को hormonal treatment दे भी दो, उससे क्या होगा? So in male infertility also, if a couple wants to conceive their own, have their own child, then in that case the sperm will be collected from the male, and IUI करने की बजाय आप IVF करके then you can move ahead. If there is absent uterus, and especially in people who are intersex individuals, or some people who may have transitioned, all right, in that case also they may have gotten surgery done, uterus nahi hai. Carriers of genetic diseases, they would not want to conceive naturally because they know that they are carrying genetic disease. So they may want an egg donation and then conceive through that egg donor or a sperm donor, whatever it is. Family balancing, you may not want to have naturally conceive, but you want to have children later on in life. So आप स्टोर कर सकते हो अपने sperm, egg या फिर embryo, and then when you are ready, you have one child, you may want another child 10 years later, you can still have that child. Cancer patients, especially people who get cancer early in life, and cancer treatment can lead to infertility, so usse pehle sperm or egg collect kar liye jate hain, so that if that person wants to have children later on, they can have through IVF. And non-traditional lifestyles में तो आजकल की जो lifestyle है fast paced है, women are also working, they want their career, oftentimes their childbearing age coincides with their careers also, and in that case they would want to have children later, so they can go for IVF. विदाउट यूट्रस IVF हाँ सरोगेसी करानी पड़ेगी, ये तो ऑब्वियस है. यूट्रस नहीं होगा तो ऑब्वियसली सरोगेसी चाहिए, बट उसमें IVF भी तो चाहिए ना. पहले IVF चाहिए तभी सरोगेट चाहिए. सो इन विट्रो फर्टिलाइजेशन कैसे होती है? सबसे पहले आपको एग एंड स्पर्म कलेक्ट करना है. सो एग के लिए आप जो टेक्निक यूज करते हो, दैट इज कॉल्ड एज एग एस्पिरेशन. यू विल गिव फर्स्ट सम हार्मोनल ट्रीटमेंट टू द फीमेल, and then when that female gets hormonal treatment, she will start to release oocytes. You want to collect them before they are released naturally. So an aspirator is used. एक probe है जो कि वजाइना से फिर सर्विक्स के थ्रू एंटर किया जाता है, एंड देन इट विल गो ऑल द वे फ्रॉम फैलोपियन ट्यूब रीच द ओवरी, एंड देन उसकी प्रोब के ऊपर कैमरा लगा होता है, उससे सिलेक्ट किए जाते हैं गुड ग्रोइंग फॉलिकल्स, एंड उनमें से गुड एग्स आर कलेक्टेड. एट वन टाइम यू कैन डू 6-7 eggs are normally collected. Then उसमें से all of them, if they are good, they can be stored. आपने ऑफन टाइम सुना होगा आईवीएफ ट्रीटमेंट में कई बार ट्विंस ट्रिपलेट्स भी हो जाते हैं, तो वो चांस नहीं लेते कि एक ही एग फर्टिलाइज करें, 2-3 एग्स को फर्टिलाइज कर लेते हैं एंड 2-3 को एक साथ भी इम्प्लांट कर देते हैं, डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द एज ऑफ द वुमन. इफ शी इज अबव 40, the chance would be if you implant one blastocyst, it will not implant itself. So sometimes they give, you know, 2 to 3, or in that case all of them, if they implant, it can lead to birth of twins and triplets. So the second would be taking the sperms from the male, selecting those sperms, making them capacitate, then causing them to fertilize the ovum in the lab in that petri dish, and then collecting the blastocyst stage and then implanting it in the female. Yes, multiple eggs are released at one time. That's why you are giving so much of hormonal treatment, follicle stimulating hormone, such high levels that multiple eggs will be released. वो जैसे polycystic ovarian disease में है, there are a lot of cysts developing. Here they develop until the end, but you want to extract them. हाँ, वो उसका जेनेटिक बेसिस होता है. कई लोग आर जेनेटिकली हैविंग मोर चांसेस ऑफ हैविंग ट्विंस. वो फैमिली में ही होता है. कई फैमिली में काफी ट्विंस होते हैं, ट्रिपलेट्स होते हैं, तो ऐसा जेनेटिकली is the reason. Sometimes women hyperovulate also. In one menstrual cycle, they may release 2 eggs. In that case, twins are born. All right. So सबसे पहले egg retrieval, second is fertilization of egg in the lab, and then transfer of the embryo. So egg retrieval, before the egg retrieval, the woman will receive a drug which will cause hyperovulation, and इस drug में follicular stimulating hormone basically आता है. Once follicle stimulating hormone is given, a vaginal ultrasound will be done to monitor the ovaries, and once you monitor them, you will see कि कुछ फॉलिकल्स ग्रो कर रहे हैं, एंड फिर फॉलिकुलर एस्पिरेशन से उसको कलेक्ट किया जाता है. इसको इतना लिखने की भी जरूरत नहीं है, स्टेप वाइज लिख देना कि क्या आईवीएफ का प्रोसीजर होता है. एवरीथिंग इज रिटन. दिस इज हाउ द प्रोब लुक्स लाइक. यू कैन सी ये प्रोब है, उसके आगे एक कैथेटर जैसा लगा होता है, और उसके टिप पर एक कैमरा होता है, एंड एस्पिरेट करने के लिए एक एस्पिरेटर भी होता है. Camera, and then there is an aspirator associated sideways on that. So vagina se usko add, it is added, it is entered, it will go pass through the uterus into the fallopian tube, reach the ovary, scan through. Ultrasound view mein doctor can actually see the ovary, or they can see through the camera that goes with the aspirator. And then eventually they can collect the eggs. Finally, eggs are collected, they are kept in incubator, and incubate करने के बाद कुछ 4 घंटे के बाद उसको फिर sperms के साथ ऐड किया जाता है. So eggs mature for 4 hours in the incubator before fertilization, because it takes them 4 hours to be released from the ovary and reach that ampullary isthmic junction. Oh my God. So let me show you what all is done to ensure that this is happening normally. Okay. जब एग निकाल लिया जाता है तो उसकी क्लीनिंग होती है, एंड दिस इज हाउ दैट क्लीनिंग इज डन. सो a liquid which has a liquid which has, you know, the uterine pH, which has some calcium and other substances, water नहीं, उसके अंदर उसमें उसको रखते हैं at an ambient body temperature of 37 degrees Celsius. उसके अंदर आपने eggs को रखा, and then what do? You do this cleaning. Look at them doing that cleaning. There in the center lies the oocyte. So यहाँ पर ये रहा oocyte. उसके अराउंड यू कैन सी सो मेनी फॉलिकुलर सेल्स आर देयर. अब क्या होगा कि आपने जब एस्पिरेट किया था तो पूरा वो फॉलिकल ही आ जाता है साथ में. ओके, अब आप डाइसेक्ट करने तो बैठोगे नहीं वहां पर. इट डजंट, यू डोंट हैव दैट टाइम. स्किल्स भी इतनी अच्छी डॉक्टर्स के पास होती नहीं है, और वो एस्पिरेटर से क्या ही हो जाएगा. सो आप पूरा का पूरा फॉलिकल निकाल रहे हो. इतने सारे फॉलिकुलर सेल्स जो नॉर्मली रिलीज होते वक्त नहीं होते. If you have so many follicular cells surrounding the oocyte, what can happen is the sperm may find too much of obstruction in order to fertilize, and fertilization may not occur in that petri dish also. So for that, once you have collected those eggs, you need to constantly just put them in solution, clean them, ताकि ये जो granulosa cells हैं, follicular cells हैं, ये धीरे धीरे थोड़े हट जाए. थोड़ी क्लीनिंग जब हो जाती है, eventually they are put into a petri dish where the sperms will also be there. Alright, so पहले एग क्लीनिंग की जाती है टू रिमूव एक्सेस फॉलिकुलर सेल्स. ये लिख लेना. दिस इज द फर्स्ट स्टेप पोस्ट एग रिट्रीवल. ओके, नाउ व्हाट इज डन? स्पर्म्स आर आल्सो कलेक्टेड. स्पर्म आपने कलेक्ट किया मेल्स से, एंड मेल से स्पर्म कलेक्ट करने के बाद यू सॉ हमने कैपेसिटेशन इन विट्रो पढ़ लिया था. ऑलराइट, तो उसमें भी हमने देखा था ये डेंसिटी डिपेंडेंट सेंट्रीफ्यूगेशन किए जाता है स्पर्म्स का. सो सीमेन जो कलेक्ट होता है, दैट इज सब्जेक्टेड टू डेंसिटी डिपेंडेंट centrifugation, density dependent gradient centrifugation. And once that is done, you will have a semen that has multiple layers, and last में activated sperm की layer होती है. So आप अलग उसमें एक sperm pellet बनती है. At the bottom, after the density dependent gradient centrifugation आप करोगे, and then that sperm pellet at the bottom of the tube are collected, and they are incubated in media. ठीक है, इस मीडिया में फिर कैपेसिटेशन होता है. ये हमने पूरा टॉपिक अलग से किया हुआ है. एवरीवन, यू कैन इंक्लूड सम इंफॉर्मेशन फ्रॉम देयर हियर. इफ आईवीएफ के बारे में भी a long answer is asked, you can add a little bit about capacitation here. बहुत elaborate मत करना. फिर capacitation of sperm occurs, and then viable sperms eventually will start to move after capacitation on the top. You keep them in another tube, and the ones which are viable will start to actively swim, and they reach on the top. Move on the top, and then through a dropper you'll collect them, and then you'll place them with the egg. All right. That's the second step that you're doing. First was egg retrieval and cleaning and incubation of the egg in the incubator for 4 hours. Then sperm collection, semen collection, and usme density dependent centrifugation, and then capacitation. And then you collect those capacitated sperms. Then finally, you have to do that fertilization. The eggs that are collected are placed together with sperms from the male, and then they are kept in an environmentally controlled chamber. Jaldi fatafat likho. We have to do cell death also, everyone. Okay. So you're putting both of them together, and after a few hours, what happens? The sperm naturally will enter into the egg. मतलब naturally वो fertilize करेगा, आपको ऐसा कुछ करना नहीं पड़ता. क्योंकि capacitated है sperm, the egg is also normal. You're putting them in an environmentally controlled chamber, and then things happen by themselves. And आपको क्या करना होता है? You incubate one egg with at least 10,000 sperms. And you know that polyspermy, the egg will naturally do. So sometimes sperm is directly injected also, because if there is some functional problem with the sperm, then it will not be able to fertilize by itself. So sometimes what you can do is intracytoplasmic sperm injection, ICSI. Let me show that also in a video. कैसे किया जाता है? See this. ये सारे मेल ह्यूमन स्पर्म्स हैं, एंड इसमें आपने एक माइक्रो नीडल ली. यू स्पॉटेड कौन सा अच्छा स्पर्म आपको लग रहा है, आपने वो स्पॉट किया. देखो हाउ दे विल पिक इट अप. प्लीज वॉच इट केयरफुली. आई मे रिपीट दिस वीडियो इफ यू नॉट. ये अच्छा लगा स्पर्म, सारी मॉर्फोलॉजी ठीक है, तो उसको कैच कर लिया इस नीडल के अंदर. ओके, यू कैन सी द स्पर्म हैज एंटर्ड इनटू दैट नीडल. ये रहा, ये वो sperm रहा. All right, once that happens, what do? You take it to the egg. All right, आप अब egg को एक तरफ से hold किया हुआ है. ये एक aspirator like structure होता है जो egg को hold करता है. And then you can see that the egg has that the egg has its outer corona radiator and everything intact, and that needle which has the sperm in it, that is injected directly into the cytoplasm, and then the sperm is left inside. You can see that sperm moving in, and ye gaya. It was left inside, and then it's done. ऐसे multiple eggs को आप ICSI करो, and then you don't have to do that hassle of keeping them and them naturally fertilizing. I hope the video played out well. You could see. Do I need to repeat this video, or can I proceed? No means clear. Okay. All right. So you saw what was done in ICSI. Now what happens is fertilization. Fertilization पूरा complete होने में एक दिन लगता है, because पहले दो sperm प्रोन्यूक्लियाई बनेंगे. मेल प्रोन्यूक्लियस बनेगा, फीमेल प्रोन्यूक्लियस बनेगा. जो मियोसिस थी एग की वो कंप्लीट होगी once the sperm enters, and then eventually zygote will form. So this whole thing takes one day. So once inside the egg, the sperm head swells, forms structure called as the pronucleus. The egg responds by completing meiosis, and uska bhi female pronucleus ban jata hai. Fertilization is done. Now what you have to do, you have to prepare for implantation. अब जो fertilization हो गई तो incubator में रखा हुआ है वो embryo. It will take some time to reach blastocyst. एक हफ्ता रखता है, by the way. I hope you remember that. 6 to 7 days will be needed. By this time, you need to ensure that the female is prepared for implantation. So simultaneously, she is given hormones, progesterone, ताकि उसका जो यूट्रीन वॉल है वो थिकन होने लग जाए. सो हिस्टेरोस्कोपी से ये देखा जाता है. अगेन अ प्रोब इज इंसर्टेड इनसाइड द वजाइना and reaches the uterus to see the uterine wall. And usse once it is seen ki everything is ready, the female is ready, after hysteroscopy we have found out, then we collect that embryo. And by this time 7 days have passed and blastocyst has come out of its zona pellucida. So zona pellucida ये बाहर की लेयर है और अंदर ब्लास्टोसिस्ट बन गया है, जिसकी आउटर ये ट्रोफोब्लास्ट की लेयर है और ये एम्ब्रियोब्लास्ट जिसको हम इनर सेल मास बोलते हैं. जब ये बन गया तब ये जोना पेलुसिडा से बाहर आ जाता है 6th to 7th डे पर. This you have to implant. Zona pellucida doesn't implant. It's the blastocyst that emerges out of it. So that is the process is called as hatching of blastocyst. फिर eventually again hysteroscopy की जाएगी. The women may be given progesterone या फिर HCG to prepare that receiving of the egg of the embryo. फिर ट्रांससर्विकल इंट्रायूटरीन ट्रांसफर किया जाता है, मतलब सर्विक्स के थ्रू यूट्रस में इम्प्लांटेशन की जाती है. Sometimes more than one embryo is placed in the womb because you know the chances of implantation may not be 100% with one embryo. So you implant more than one की individually. अगर एक नहीं करेगा तो दूसरा कर जाएगा, like that. The transfer of embryo is done using a thin tube or a catheter. It enters the womb through vagina. Everything is written in the slide so that you don't need anything to be dictated. When the embryo sticks to the lining of the womb, the healthy embryo can grow. How many embryos are transferred depend upon the age of the woman. If she's not able to naturally conceive, but she's still less than 37 years of age or 35 years of age, 1 या 2, sometimes even 1 can be used, but 2 से ज़्यादा नहीं implant करते. If she is of the age 37 के आसपास, then 2 to 3 implant कर सकते हैं. If she is above 40, then up to 4, and 44, 45 से ज़्यादा तो कई बार 5 implant embryo implant किए जाते हैं, so that at least 1 fertilizes. Sometimes more than 1 can also fertilize. For patients with 2 or more failed IVF cycles, even more than 5 can be added. That depends upon the judgment of the embryologist who's working and the doctors who are working, but oftentimes this is not needed. इतने hormonal treatment पहले ही दिए जाते हैं. Either this works, IVF works, or IVF doesn't work. Nobody takes the risks of implanting 7 embryos and फिर वो गलती से 7 के साथ ही implant हो जाए. My God, that will be such a problem in our country. We love our own blood, but not too much of it sometimes. Then there are alternatives of IVF also. कई बार जरूरत नहीं पड़ती आपको IVF करने की. You know, you may just want to. हाँ, क्यों नहीं हो सकती? इंटरनेशनली तो हो जाता है. आपने सुना नहीं? IVF की ट्रीटमेंट के बाद 7-8 बच्चे हो गए. बट इंडिया में इतना रिस्क नहीं लेते डॉक्टर्स, क्योंकि इस मामले में वो उनको समझ में आता है कि जिसको एक ही चाहिए उसके साथ हो जाए तो क्या इम्पैक्ट पड़ेगा फाइनेंशियली. सो यहाँ पर नहीं होता है. ये जनरल कंसेंसस है कि इतने नहीं इम्प्लांट करें. होगा तो 2-3 में भी हो जाएगा, नहीं होगा तो नहीं होगा. दैट्स ऑल. Then they say कि it's not happening. 2-3 cycles करते हैं IVF की, and if it doesn't work, they just say कि look for alternatives. Gamete intrafallopian transfer, where the gamete is put into the fallopian tubes along with the sperm in the fallopian tube, because there is the place where fertilization naturally should occur. So rather than doing it in the lab, it's done in the fallopian tube. Everything is normal, just that fertilization की टाइमिंग ऐसी है या तो स्पर्म ठीक नहीं है, आपने दोनों को fallopian tube में रिलीज कर दिया, hoping that they fertilize themselves. The fertilization naturally occurs. Then sometimes you may put the zygote which has not reached a blastocyst stage. Zygote itself आपने fallopian में ट्यूब में ट्रांसफर कर दिया, for naturally grow करेगा अपने आप, और जब वो blastocyst बन जाएगा आप naturally hatch करेगा, and then it will be implanting itself. That is called a ZIFT. Earlier it was GIFT. Then zygote intrafallopian transfer is ZIFT. And बहुत अलग अलग reproductive techniques होती हैं. Yes, if you conceive multiple embryos, they can be destroyed also. Sometimes होता है कि ट्विंस ट्रिपलेट्स हो गए तो उनमें से एक को डिस्ट्रॉय कर दिया, दो को डिस्ट्रॉय कर दिया, ये भी होता है. हाँ, लेकिन एथिकली समटाइम्स इट्स सम डॉक्टर्स में रिफ्यूज टू डू इट, सम से ओके. वो कुछ रीजन बताना पड़ता है आपको, फिर यू हैव टू टेल द रीजन व्हाई यू आर डूइंग इट. सो दे फाइंड आउट रीजन कि एक डेवलपमेंट उसका ठीक नहीं हो रहा, ट्विन्स हैं, उनमें से एक को डाउन सिंड्रोम है, समथिंग लाइक दिस दे डू फाइंड आउट. तो कई बार होता है जैसे ट्विन्स हैं और एक को डाउन सिंड्रोम है, तो उस केस में जो डाउन सिंड्रोम वाला होता है उसको डिस्ट्रॉय कर देते हैं. ऑलराइट. पार्शियल जोना डाइसेक्शन मतलब you assist that zona pellucida to be dissected so that the sperm entry can be normal without any problem. आपने zona pellucida के नीचे इंजेक्ट किया sperm, rather injecting it directly into the cytoplasm. You inject it near the zona pellucida, subzonal sperm injection. ICSE तो आपने देख ही लिया था, ICSI. And then embryo cryopreservation, that once the fertilized egg fertilization occurs, you store the embryo and implant it later when the woman is ready. That was IVF. इसको stepwise manner में लिखना है everyone. That is what will be asked in the exam. What is the need for it? How is it done? Cryopreserve करने में बहुत पैसा लगता है. It's not cheap. All right. Assisted reproductive technology in cattle breeding. ये embryo transfer यही है. Embryo transfer IVF में भी आता है, लेकिन cattle breeding में भी आता है. IVF and embryo transfer साथ में पूछा जाए तो human perspective से पूछेंगे, और cattle breeding में भी होता है तो उस perspective से भी पूछ सकते हैं. So why cattle breeding is important? We come from a country which loves milk. हमें white, जैसे green revolution था वैसे white revolution भी था, जो इतना ज्यादा milk production हमने increase कर लिया. We have the most number of buffaloes and lot of cattle in the country. Largely इतना ज्यादा milk production होता है that we are able to suffice our own needs, and sometimes milk products can be exported internationally also in countries which allow that. So there are estimated 150,000 potential eggs or ova in the cow. As opposed to that, a bull, which is very healthy, will have billions of sperm. So what happens is, at one point of time, a healthy female cattle can carry a calf for whatever gestation that they have, 6-7 months or less. और उसके बाद then she has to wait for the next estrus cycle, and then only, and during the time when she is producing milk, she may not have the ovulation happening. All right. So when milk is being produced in her body, she may not ovulate. In that case, a bull which is producing so many sperms and is very healthy, uske jo sperms hai, they are being lost. So what can be done? Cattle breeding may we can, and if we do it naturally, we are producing calf which may have good milk producing ability or may be used in the fields. But we would want more of females to be produced so that we can have more milk. So ऐसे में cattle breeding program focuses on finding out one male which is really healthy, good bull, and finding out females which can be surrogates and females which can be egg donors. So you take egg from the egg donors, you take sperm from the bull, and use the surrogate who may not be good milk producers, but they can carry the calf. So यहाँ पे surrogate बहुत important होता है in cattle breeding. So embryo transfer technique can greatly increase the number of offspring a genetically important cow can produce. Genetically important cow would be जो ज़्यादा milk produce करती है. All right. क्या क्या स्टेप्स होते हैं एम्ब्रियो ट्रांसफर के कैटल में? सबसे पहला जो स्टेप है दैट यू हैव टू फाइंड आउट अ गुड डोनर काउ. डोनर काउ वुड बी द वन विच इज गिविंग द एग्स. इसका क्राइटेरिया क्या होता है? डोनर, अच्छी डोनर काउ वुड नॉट हैव एनी जेनेटिक डिफेक्ट्स, that she doesn't have any genetic defects, has a regular estrus cycle. इससे पहले वाला जो काफ था, that was at least 365 days old, मतलब 1 साल हो गए हैं, she naturally conceived. All right, ये कुछ क्राइटेरिया होते हैं. शी इज अ गुड मिल्क प्रोड्यूसर एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट. गुड मिल्क प्रोडक्शन और हेल्दी काउ है, आप उसको, काउ और बफलो व्हाटएवर, आप उसको डोनर की तरह लो. शी विल बी अंडरगोइंग hormonal treatment for super ovulation. You want a lot of eggs to be released, and for that FSH is injected again. Something which may not be ethically correct in humans is can be done in cattle. All right, so you may give a lot of FSH so that they produce a lot many eggs compared to what they would produce normally. So ये दिया जाता है twice daily for 4 days. FSH. Then what you do, you may inseminate the cow with sperms so that embryos form within her body, but she will not be able to carry so many embryos. So you flush those embryos out. All right. So sometimes you don't even have to do that IVF treatment. All right. You don't have to collect the eggs and then put them in the petri dish and add the sperm and everything. You can use the cow for fertilization. Insemination of the cow with the sperm, and then you flush out those embryos that have been produced. What a wonderful mechanism. Earlier calf, sorry, not calf, cow, earlier calf is 365 days old. मतलब उसका बेबी जो है एटलीस्ट 1 साल, जो नेचुरली उसने कंसीव किया है, 1 साल से she has not naturally conceived. तो अदरवाइज उसमें ओव्यूलेशन नहीं हो पाएगा. All right, it is suppressed while the calf is growing. Earlier calf, which is the baby. Okay, Paris? Then finally, what do? You flush these embryos out, you evaluate if they are healthy, and then you select surrogates, and which are recipient females. You select and prepare their uterus. You give them hormonal treatment so their uterus is prepared for implantation. You transfer those embryos in different surrogates. And then even if they are not good milk producers, the surrogate, the embryo that you have implanted genetically has better genes and would be a female most likely. You may want to select the sperms with, which will lead to a female being produced, and then you add only those sperms in that donor cow. So a lot of females will be produced, a lot of milk will be produced in the future, and like that you can do that process. ये वो process है जिससे flushing की जाती है. So flushing of embryos is done like this. हाँ, simple procedure होता है. Okay. ठीक है, चलें आगे. So flushing of embryos में, this is the Foley catheter that is used. So एक कैथेटर यूज किया जाता है जिसमें एक फ्लूइड इनलेट, फ्लशिंग फ्लूइड डाला जाता है, दैट इज इंसर्टेड इनसाइड द वजाइना, देन द सर्विक्स, एंड देन इट गोज इनटू द यूट्रस. अब उस यूट्रस में बहुत सारे एम्ब्रियोज हैं, आपने वो फ्लूइड अंदर डाला, ठीक है, वो यूट्रस पूरा फिल हो जाता है उस फ्लूइड से, एंड देन यू टेक ऑल दैट फ्लूइड आउट. एंड जब आप वो फ्लूइड निकालोगे तो उसके साथ एग्स भी एम्ब्रियोज भी आ जाते हैं. ऑलराइट. आप ये नॉन सर्जिकल प्रोसीजर है, कोई सर्जरी करने की जरूरत नहीं है, ज्यादा कुछ हर्ट भी नहीं होती, थोड़ा डिस्कम्फर्ट होता है काउ को, बट एज सच कुछ प्रॉब्लम नहीं होती. सो वेरी ब्यूटिफुल मैकेनिज्म ऑफ डूइंग इट विदाउट रिक्वायरिंग. सो इवन आपको किसी किसी कैटल ब्रीडर को जरा सा ट्रेन करना है, दैट्स इट. They can do all of this by themselves. All right. And then once you've got those embryos, you can choose a surrogate and then you can implant it in the surrogate. एम्ब्रियो जो देखा वो उसको कैटेगराइज किया जाता है. वैसे तो लैब चाहिए इसके लिए, थोड़ा बहुत ट्रेनिंग एंड एक दो बंदे लैब में आपको चाहिए टू फाइंड आउट कि कौन सी स्टेज पे है एम्ब्रियो. So at least for flushing you would not require another person. फ्लश करके आपको कैटल ब्रीडर खुद ही लाके कलेक्ट करके दे देगा एंड देन somebody would analyze in the lab कि कौन सी स्टेज पे है एम्ब्रियो. पहली स्टेज पे है, अनफर्टिलाइज है, उसको तो यूज ही नहीं कर सकते. अनफर्टिलाइज है तो एग है तो आप यूज ही नहीं कर सकते उसको, दैट्स रिजेक्टेड. स्टेज 2 यानी 2 to 12 सेल स्टेज है, उसको रखा जाता है इंक्यूबेटर में अप अंटिल कि ब्लास्टोसिस्ट हैच हो. स्टेज 3 इज अर्ली मोरुला स्टेज, अब उसको भी इंक्यूबेटर में रखा जाएगा. स्टेज 4 इज मोरुला बन गया है. स्टेज 5 इज अर्ली ब्लास्टोसिस्ट. स्टेज 6 इज ब्लास्टोसिस्ट. स्टेज 7 इज एक्सपैंडेड ब्लास्टोसिस्ट. सो स्टेज 7, 8 and 9 these are the ones which are implanted. इससे ऊपर की जो स्टेजेस है, दिस इज रिजेक्टेड. स्टेज 2 से लेके स्टेज 6 तक kept in incubator for different time periods. Obviously stage number 6 will be kept for barely few hours. Stage number 2, 3, 4 may be kept for a few days. So likewise, and these are the ones which can be implanted. So once you've analyzed कि कौन से embryos ठीक हैं implantation के लिए, you choose them and then you get ready. You now have to find out the surrogate recipient cow. So these are the steps that will be involved. एक donor cow है, आपने उसको follicular wave manipulation किया, मतलब post estrus cycle आपने उसको FSH दिया ताकि वो super ovulate करे. And then after that you inseminate her with high quality sperm. High quality sperm, and once you inseminate them with high quality sperm, 6 to 8 days after it, non-surgical flushing, using that Foley catheter is done. फिर आपने isolate किया, टेम्पररी आप होल्ड कर सकते हो फ्रेश एम्ब्रियोज को, आप फ्रीज भी कर सकते हो लिक्विड नाइट्रोजन में -190°C पे. देन आपने रेसिपिएंट काउ को प्रिपेयर किया, उसकी नेचुरल ईस्ट्रस साइकिल में उसको प्रिपेयर किया, या फिर आपने उसको सिंक्रोनाइज किया नेचुरल मतलब हार्मोनल ट्रीटमेंट देके कि उसकी ईस्ट्रस साइकिल आ जाए, एंड देन यू ट्रांसफर देम एंड 6 to 7 or up until 9 months later the calf will be born, and this calf is your desired calf with high quality high genetically superior parents, and thus this will either be used for in the field, agar thoda healthy male hoga to they can be used in the agriculture, or they can be used to produce good quality milk. जैसे इंडिया में गिर, you must have heard, GS में आपने पढ़ा ही होगा. All right, गिर, ओंगोले, थरपकर, these are all the high milch cows, मतलब high milk producing cattle है ये. और हाँ, तो हाई मिल्क प्रोड्यूसिंग है, और ये इसी तरीके से एम्ब्रियो ट्रांसफर से यू वुड वांट देम टू बी देयर, ऑलराइट, रादर देन थोड़ा जो लो मिल्क प्रोड्यूसिंग है, हु वुड वांट टू स्पेंड मनी, बिकॉज फार्मर्स पैसे देख के खरीदते हैं कैटल को, ऑलराइट, सो दे वुड वांट अ हाई मिल्क प्रोड्यूसिंग काउ टू बी बॉट. And such a trading business, such a good trade it is in our country. And in the past, so number of cows or buffaloes that you have would make you popular, or that was the criteria of you being rich. So with the white revolution, we have become self-sustainable in this field, at least of milk production and milk products ka koi production. India is doing really good in it because we have good techniques and we know these techniques. There are a lot of dairy institutes and veterinary institutes in our country which are doing good work, good research, and thus this helps. The cattle breeding is a very important procedure, and that has good, results. Yes, Jersey is also one of them. Chalo, okay. So with that, we are done with IVF and embryo transfer. And embryo transfer में cattle perspective से भी आपको लिखना चाहिए. Even if not asked, you should write it in the exam. All right, everyone, should we proceed with cell death now? Any questions? चले फिर आगे. All right, so I hope I can proceed. So now we are moving to cell death. Cell death is a cell dying, all right, occurs through two processes. One is called as apoptosis and the other is called as necrosis. Apoptosis को हम programmed cell death बोलते हैं. मतलब एक programming है कि if there's something wrong with the cell, then it would die in a programmed manner. Certain proteins would be activated which will lead to its death. And necrosis would be when the cell undergoes some physical injury and then it is dying in that process. So we should always start this topic, although when we talk about cell death, we are talking mainly from perspective of apoptosis, but हमें दोनों को compare भी करना चाहिए. So if you compare necrosis with apoptosis, necrosis में क्या होता है? There is cellular injury. Please write it with me. There may be cellular injury, there may be lack of oxygen, hypoxia, and इसमें इस situation में ये induce होगा. If this is the cell, the mitochondria in the cell, there can be a nucleus and ER and Golgi. Everything starts swelling up. So organelles swell up. Chromatin and nucleus undergoes clumping. उससे क्या होता है? There would be a blebbing. The cell would start to look like this. Swell होके organelles burst हो गए. Alright, so अब होगा blebbing इस तरह से, and then the cell membrane disintegrates and cellular explosion occurs. Cell membrane eventually disintegrates and cellular explosion occurs. This will always lead to some inflammation. मतलब आपको रैशेस हो जाएंगे. हाँ, आपको इंजरी होती है तो आपको रैशेस हो जाते हैं, लाल पीला हो जाता है हर जगह से. ऑल राइट, बिकॉज इट विल ऑलवेज लीड टू सम इन्फ्लेमेटरी रिएक्शन जब भी नेक्रोसिस होती है. ऑन द अदर हैंड, एपोप्टोसिस में या तो कोई बैक्टीरियल टॉक्सिन इंड्यूस कराता है इसको, या कोई बैक्टीरियल और फंगल इन्फेक्शन हो गया, और कोई म्यूटेशन, समथिंग लाइक दैट. फिर क्या होगा? दिस इज योर सेल, दैट सेम सेल जिसमें न्यूक्लियस था, माइटोकॉन्ड्रिया था, ER, गोल्जी. अब क्या है? एंजाइम्स इसके enzymes, they digest cytosolic components. न्यूक्लियस का जो डीएनए है उसमें फ्रैगमेंटेशन हो जाती है. The nuclear lamina and cytoskeleton, they get digested. Okay. With this, what happens? The membrane doesn't disintegrate. There will be this blebbing, मतलब membrane split हो जाती है छोटे छोटे अलग अलग blebs में. So membrane bound apoptotic bodies form. और आसपास कोई मैक्रोफाज होगा वो उसको पिक कर लेता है. Let me make this as that macrophage. अलग कलर से कलर कर दो ताकि कंफ्यूजन ना हो. All right. So that is a macrophage. And a macrophage will phagocytose these apoptotic bodies. So macrophage will phagocytose them. And hence there will be no inflammatory reaction in apoptosis. जो नेक्रोसिस में होती है यहाँ पर कोई inflammatory reaction नहीं होता. That's the beauty of apoptosis. It's so natural that it happens so much in our bodies all the time. Like daily, बहुत सारे cells apoptose होते हैं हमारी body में, हमें पता भी नहीं चलता. Necrosis will lead to some, inflammatory reaction. Necrosis is not controlled. Apoptosis is programmed controlled. प्लाज्मा मेम्ब्रेन की इंटीग्रिटी नेक्रोसिस में नहीं रहती. एपोप्टोसिस में प्लाज्मा मेम्ब्रेन की इंटीग्रिटी रहती है. कोई मैक्रोफाज इन्वॉल्व नहीं होता नेक्रोसिस में. एपोप्टोसिस में मैक्रोफाजेस इन्वॉल्व होते हैं जो फैगोसाइटोस करते हैं. सो अगर दोनों में डिफरेंस आ जाए तो भी आपको पता होना चाहिए. डू राइट इट डाउन. नेक्रोसिस इज नॉट प्रोग्राम्ड. एपोप्टोसिस इज प्रोग्राम्ड. Necrosis doesn't involve phagocytosis. Apoptosis involves phagocytosis. Membrane integrity is not maintained in necrosis. Membrane integrity, plasma membrane ki, it is maintained in apoptosis. Necrosis is caspase independent. Apoptosis is caspase dependent. वो हम देखते हैं what is caspase independence and dependence. Okay, everyone. Should we proceed? All right. So, C. elegans में ये रिसर्च स्टार्ट हुई थी. Caenorhabditis elegans में हमें ये पता चला कि Caenorhabditis elegans में 1090 सेल्स होते हैं एंड इसमें से आउट ऑफ देम 131 सेल्स अंडरगो, दे आर एलिमिनेटेड बाय एपोप्टोसिस. ऑलराइट. इवेंचुअली कितने रह जाएंगे? 959 cells are left. $959 cells are left. अगर हम ह्यूमंस की बात करें तो हमारे में ह्यूमंस में अप्रोक्सीमेटली 5 × 10⁻11 cells रोज डेली अंडरगो एपोप्टोसिस। ये जो टर्म है एपोप्टोसिस is that signal that self death is the term was given by 3 people. Important नहीं है इनका नाम, लेकिन फिर भी the term was coined by John Kerr, Andrew Wiley and A.R. Curry. In 1972 they coined this term. सारी रिसर्च सी एलिगेंस ड्रोसोफिला पे बेस्ड है, फिर धीरे धीरे रैट से भी थोड़ी इंफॉर्मेशन मिली और ह्यूमन से भी, बट बेसिकली जो एपोप्टोसिस की रिसर्च है वो स्टार्ट हुई थी सी एलिगेंस में। देयर वाज अ गाय नेम्ड रॉबर्ट हॉर्विट्ज। उन्होंने he found out कि there are 2-3 proteins in C elegans जिसको उन्होंने नाम दिया SED, मतलब C elegans death protein. Okay, SED. SED3 and SED4 were discovered and he said that they are required for apoptosis. Here he said that there is something called as SED9 and that one blocks apoptosis. Another thing that was discovered was कि अगर एक नॉर्मल सेल है, उसकी ये प्लाज्मा मेम्ब्रेन है बाहर, तो उसमें फॉस्फेटिडिल सीरीन नॉर्मल सेल में अंदर की तरफ एक्सप्रेस होता है। ऑलराइट, दिस इज द न्यूक्लियस। लेकिन एपोप्टोटिक सेल में दिस इज फॉस्फेटिडिल सीरीन इनसाइड द सेल। ये नॉर्मल सेल है। एंड इन केस ऑफ आज मैं बोर्ड वर्क भी अपलोड कर दूंगी अगर कुछ छूट जाए तो, क्योंकि हो सकता है छूट जाए, तो डोंट वरी। In case of a cell undergoing apoptosis, this phosphatidyl serine gets expressed outside. Outside the cell. मतलब कोई ये प्रिकर्सर, इससे हमें पता चला कि प्रिकर्सर है कि भाई कुछ गड़बड़ है, नाउ दिस सेल विल अंडरगो एपोप्टोसिस। रॉबर्ट हॉर्विट्ज ने ही एक बात बोली कि जो SED4 है वो पॉजिटिवली रेगुलेट करता है SED9 SED3 को, और SED3 फिर इवेंचुअली सेल डेथ कराता है। एंड ये अगर SED9 है और वो इनहिबिट कर दे SED4 को, तो ये प्रोसेस नहीं होता और SED9 SED4 को ही इनहिबिट करता है। फिर हमें वी फाउंड आउट अनदर थिंग। व्हाट डिड वी फाइंड आउट? वी फाउंड आउट कि मैमल्स में भी SED3 SED4 SED9 और SED4 जैसे कोई और प्रोटीन्स हैं, ऑलराइट, जो कि मैमल्स में फिर एपोप्टोसिस को रेगुलेट करते हैं। सो वी फाउंड आउट कि SED4 जैसा मैमल्स में है APAF1। दिस SED4 इज APAF1 इन मैमल्स। अगर इसकी फुल फॉर्म लिखनी है तो APAF is apoptosis protease activating factor 1, ये है। ऑलराइट, और SED9 से सिमिलर BCL2 है। BCL2 BCL2 नाम आया है बी सेल लिम्फोमा से, क्योंकि लिम्फोमा सेल कैंसरस सेल था, उसमें उसकी डिस्कवरी हुई थी। BCL2 नाम वहां से आया। सो ये भी प्रोसेस हमको 1980s तक पता चल गया। सो उसके बाद वी फाउंड आउट कि SED3, आई होप एवरीवन इज, BCL2 इज बी सेल लिम्फोमा, बताया तो, बी सेल लिम्फोमा। See, we found out that SED3 okay, SED3 is prototype of family of proteases. We found that out, and these family of proteases are called as caspases. ये difference है necrosis और apoptosis में। Necrosis is caspase independent, and God, I'm not able to speak at all now. And apoptosis caspase dependent. No, it doesn't work with water. I've had water. But चलो देखो जितना हो पाता है उतना करते हैं, then I'll stop. So caspases का नाम कैसे पड़ा? Because they C से cysteine से है, they have cysteine residues at their active sites, and they cleave after aspase. C comes from cysteine, aspase aspartate से आया है, and they cleave after aspartic acid in their substrate proteins. मतलब उनके पास या तुम्हारी लेटर में भी so, उनके पास उनकी एक्टिव साइट पे सिस्टीन रेजिड्यूज है, और जो वो जिस प्रोटीन को क्लीव करते हैं तो वो एस्पार्टिक रेजिड्यूज की साइट पे क्लीव करते हैं. दैट्स हाउ द नेम हैज कम, caspases, in their substrate proteins. ऑलराइट, और काम क्या करते हैं ये? दे टारगेट DNAs, they inhibit DNAs. मतलब इनहिबिटर ऑफ DNAs को टारगेट करते हैं. ऑलराइट, फिर दे कैस्पेसेस क्लीव बोथ न्यूक्लियर लेमिन्स, मतलब न्यूक्लियर जो लेमिना है उसको क्लीव करते हैं, causing fragmentation. Of nucleus only, not plasma membrane, because they're targeting that nucleus, and hence the plasma membrane integrity will be maintained. And they also target cytoskeletal proteins. उससे क्या होता है? Leading to disruption of cytoskeleton, and apoptotic bodies form because of that. All right. So without the integrity of the plasma membrane being lost, you will have multiple such apoptotic bodies. Caspases do this. All right. Okay, everyone. It's very tough. So I'm just zooming out if you want to note anything down. ठीक है, कुछ रह गया? BCL2 भी लिख लेना, B सेल लिम्फोमा. BCL2 was discovered in a B cell lymphoma cell, and that's why it is BCL2 is named after that. Chale aage, everyone. Anything that is confusing to you? क्या हुआ? Should we proceed? Okay. हाँ जी. I don't know. Let me just at least tell you about caspases, because anyways, I don't think I can complete cell death. It's 2 pathways are there, external, internal. It will require 1 hour. So I'm really pushing myself here, thinking I'll be able to complete, but I cannot. It will take 1 hour. So caspases खत्म करा देती हूँ, ठीक है? चलो. At least let me discuss that, and then I can start. I wanted to start evolutionary biology on a fresh day, but I guess that's how it is going to be. Kal evolutionary biology start hoga, but it will start with dev bio ending the same day. So it's okay. Things don't work out as we planned, but it's all right. Okay, chalo. ये लिख लिया. तो अब caspase की बारे में और further. SED3 is the only caspase. We found out. We said 9, said 4 caspases नहीं है. SED3 is the only caspase in C. elegans. क्योंकि C. elegans में ही discover हुआ था. But then we found out Drosophila में and human mammals में caspases बहुत सारे हैं. At least 7 caspases की family are there. ठीक है? This we have found. Today we know a lot about caspases, and we know that there are 2 categories of it. One which are called as initiator caspases, मतलब ये initiate करते हैं apoptosis, and the other are effector or executioner caspases, मतलब they will execute the apoptosis. They will be the ones which will cleave the lamina to make it fragmented. They will be cleaving the cytoskeleton to make it fragmented, but उनको activate कराने वाले initiator caspases. All right. And BCL2, which is related to SED9 in the what do you call it, C. elegans, उससे related family है. So mammals में 20 proteins हैं जो BCL2 से related होते हैं. BCL2 again, everyone, from that B cell lymphoma, it was discovered in 1985. ठीक है? ये एक oncogene है. All right. Which contributes to the formation of B cell lymphoma, BCL2. So उसी family से related we found out there are anti-apoptotic, क्योंकि आपको पता है SED9 anti-apoptotic है, तो apoptosis को रोकेगा. And BCL2 SED9 से related है, तो ये एक ऐसा oncogene है जो apoptosis को prevent करेगा. एक anti-apoptotic family members हैं which are like BCL2, and then there are pro-apoptotic proteins also. Anti-apoptotic family members, family proteins लिखना चाहिए, family proteins and pro-apoptotic proteins. मतलब BCL2 जैसे ही हैं, पर they promote apoptosis. So these are the ones that inhibit apoptosis, and these are the one that induce apoptosis. फिर we found out इसमें भी दो कैटेगरीज है, इसकी दो कैटेगरीज है। एक है जिसमें सिर्फ एक ही डोमेन है, मतलब वी स्टडीड BCl2, वी फाउंड उसमें अलग अलग डोमेन्स होती है, BH1 BH2 BH3 इस तरह से नाम, होम्यो, H कम्स फ्रॉम दैट होम्यो डोमेन, B कम्स फ्रॉम BCl2। एक हमें मिली कि एक प्रो एपोप्टोटिक मल्टी डोमेन प्रोटीन्स होते हैं और एक प्रो एपोप्टोटिक BH3 ओनली डोमेन्स होते हैं। मतलब उनमें अगर ये जीन है तो 1 2 3 BH3 फिर BH1 फिर BH2, ऐसे 3 डोमेन एक साथ होती है, मल्टी डोमेन। और सिर्फ अगर BH3 होगी, if only BH3 will be there, then that would be coming under pro-apoptotic। इसमें एग्जाम्पल आ गया बैक, इनके बारे में डिस्कस करेंगे कल। इसमें एग्जाम्पल आ गया बिड, बैड, नॉक्सा, प्यूमा, ये ऐसे नाम दिए हैं, आपको जाने की जरूरत नहीं है इनकी फुल फॉर्म्स में, बट आई विल स्टिल डिस्कस देम टुमारो। ऑलराइट, सो क्विक ओवरव्यू। हमें सी एलिगेंस से हमने स्टार्ट किया। सी एलिगेंस में सेट 3 डिस्कवर हुआ, सेट 4 डिस्कवर हुआ, सेट 9 एंटी एपोप्टोटिक था, बाकी दोनों प्रो एपोप्टोटिक थे। फिर वी स्टार्टेड रिसर्चिंग इन ड्रोसोफिला एंड मैमल्स, वी फाउंड आउट कि इनमें तो और भी ज्यादा है। एंड BCl2 ऑन्कोजीन डिस्कवर हुआ, तो हमें पता चला कि उसके प्रो एपोप्टोटिक, एपोप्टोटिक नहीं, प्रो एपोप्टोटिक, अच्छा इससे कंफ्यूजन हो गया, प्रो एपोप्टोटिक, apoptotic. So we found out 20 different proteins which belong to 2 different family, anti-apoptotic and pro-apoptotic. इसमें भी ऐसे लिखा हुआ है, anti-apoptotic, apoptotic and pro-apoptotic। anti-apoptotic inhibit करते हैं apoptosis को, pro वाले इंड्यूस करते हैं। प्रो में भी एक मल्टी डोमेन है और एक सिंगल BH3 डोमेन वाले हैं। ये सारे प्रोटीन्स के नाम हैं। अब हम इससे कैसे एपोप्टोसिस होती है वो हम कल करेंगे एवरीवन। 2 पाथवेज, एक्सटर्नल, इन एक्सट्रिंसिक एंड इंट्रिंसिक, मतलब सेल को खुद से पता है कि उसको एपोप्टोसिस करानी है, उसी के अंदर से सिग्नल्स आ रहे हैं कि प्लीज किल योरसेल्फ। एंड अगर बाहर से सिग्नल आए तो वो एक्सट्रिंसिक पाथवे है। ये दोनों पाथवे हम कल करेंगे। वी विल स्टार्ट विद दैट, आई थिंक इट विल टेक अस अराउंड एन आवर टू कंप्लीट इट, एंड देन वी विल स्टार्ट विद इवोल्यूशनरी बायोलॉजी। ऑल राइट एवरीवन, so this I will upload also. If you've missed anything you can check that. I will upload cell death wala portion online. Okay, that's all everyone then. I'll end the session here. I'll see you tomorrow. The class is offline. All right, 4 p.m. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, take care. Good night. 4 p.m. Don't forget. Thanks everyone. Bye.